Joint clinical assessments centralise the clinical domains of the health technology assessment process on a European level. Non-clinical HTA domains, which mainly involve economic evaluation, remain with the national HTA bodies of the 27 member states. The national decision makers also retain the final appraisal of a medicine and its recommendation for reimbursement and for subsequent pricing negotiations. The aim of joint clinical assessments is to increase the quality, transparency and timeliness of clinical HTA so that access to innovative medicines is accelerated for EU patients. Whether the new legislation and centralised process will meet these aims remains to be seen. It's important to understand that the joint clinical assessment process runs in parallel with the marketing authorisation process of the European Medicines Agency. The goal is endorsement of the final joint clinical assessment within 30 days of the European Commission decision to approve the medicine, which puts considerable time pressure on the entire process. It's fair to say that a good part of this pressure is placed squarely on the shoulders of the manufacturer. The process is kicked off with the submission of the regulatory dossier to the EMA. In practice, this implies that the HTA bodies are now firmly in the driving seat, and the manufacturers no longer retain control over when to launch the HTA process. This assumes that the submission is subject to the EU HTA regulation, which applies to all new oncology drugs and cell and gene therapies from January of 2025, to orphan medicinal products from January of 2028, and lastly, all new drugs from 2030 onward. It also means that the clinical efficacy and safety evidence submitted as part of the EMA regulatory dossier will effectively be mirrored in the joint clinical assessment, placing an even greater emphasis on the importance of including payer-relevant endpoints and comparators in the pivotal, registration-enabling clinical trials.